Okay. And the beautiful thing also is that I'm going to leave the video here. So whatever the time zone is saying, whenever people get to come, they will be able to access the, the session. So having said all of that, let's go tonight. I made a post yesterday trying to set a background for what I'll be discussing this moment. Let me quickly say this ahead of time. At any point you really can't hear me, please indicate in the comment box so that I can respond on time. I don't have a feedback right now. Okay. So tonight or this afternoon, depending on your time zone, we want to talk about the science of internal regulation. And I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to say, very seriously, very seriously. And by the time we continue with the conversation, maybe you will know clearly why I said you should pay attention to what I want to talk about. Oh, certain persons always want to reach out at this hot hour. Anyways, we'll be fine, okay? What what was I talking about? Yeah, the science of internal regulation. Let me pick it from a very relatable and simplest things everybody can relate with. Those in Canada, those in the United Kingdom, those in America now, I'm very sure it's getting cold in those part of the world as we speak. What we call the autumn now. Then when it get to the peak of it, you call it the winter period. And the system here, you have inbuilt air conditioning system in your houses and all of that. So when you are in summer or when the weather is hot generally to just make it clear to everybody, you tend to put on the AC every time. And what you are doing is because the environment is hot, the AC creates a reasonable but cool environment for you to be able to maintain good temperature. In this, that, just pay attention. But the moment you are transitioning to the very cold season, this when you use what we call thermostat, you can decide to put that same AC control in a specific temperature. So what that means is when the external temperature is very cold, then your AC automatically, you don't even need to go there, will switch to heat. That is, you have kept it at a specific temperature. If the external environment is hotter than that, AC will start working to bring it down to that temperature. If the external environment is colder, the heater will start working to increase the temperature so that you can have relatively the same temperature within your house or environment. Are you seeing that? So that alone is a typical representation of what we call regulation of internal environment. That is physical. Maybe let's take it to biology. You know, I like to give examples that people can relate with on many levels. There's something we call homeostasis, right? I want to believe many of you did biology, even though you didn't like it. And some of you, I know a couple of persons who are still furthering in biology. But basically, in your biology, you were taught homeostasis. If you still remember, you can put in the comment box what that means, okay? If you can still remember, you can put it in the comment box what that is talking about. Basically, they will tell you, maybe for the sake of time, they will tell you that homeostasis is the regulation of internal environment of a living organism. And that has to do with regulation of temperature, regulation of sugar and all of that in your body. But I want you to know, please pay attention, that that thing that is happening inside of you is not just happening by default. There are things that are functional, even when you can't see them physically, that make, your internal environment as a living organism to experience almost constant ecosystem all year round. It's not just something that is happening on its own. As a matter of fact, what regulates your sugar level is what we call insulin, okay, that is being secreted by the pancreas. When you see the proliferation of diabetes all over the world, everybody that is diabetic, whatever the type, either type 1, type 2, and all of that, some can be, hereditary, maybe some can even happen through autoimmunity and all of that. But we know that the general cause of diabetes is when your body can either not produce insulin to regulate the blood sugar, or your body is producing insulin, but you can't use insulin. At that level, it doesn't matter what your intentions are, you are prone to diabetic or you even become diabetic. So it means all of us who are not diabetic, and with due respect, we are not trying to spite anybody. These are medical conditions. Nobody caused that for themselves. A lot of times people did also. Let's be clear. A lot of times people brought themselves into trouble. But whatever the case is, I'm not here this moment to talk about. I'm not a medical practitioner, okay? So I said all of that to say why you are not diabetic is because your body is producing insulin and your body is using insulin. So even though there are triggers that can lead to diabetic, they are regulated inside of you, then you are enjoying normal life. That's biology. And I've spoken about weather, right? Let's now bring it to what I want to talk about, because it is about you tonight. As you know, my focus is human capital development. My focus is to bring ordinary men to transform them to agent of change. So I focus on people and how to optimize their capacity, basically. Because when you are optimized, you are the one that will get a lot of things done. Things respond to whosoever is doing them. Things don't just happen until somebody make them happen. Are you seeing that? So that individual that will cause the change, that is the aspect where I am bringing, support structures to build you well. And at any point you are seeing this video, I want to request, try to like the video. You can also share with people that you believe this is going to benefit. Are we together now? So the idea is, if you don't understand the science of internal regulation, just the way people who don't love diabetes end up being diabetic a lot of time, that is how most people who don't like poverty, even though they don't like it, they will end up poor. A lot of people who don't like, to be depressed will end up being depressed. They will find themselves in depression. A lot of people who should not even be killed, who shouldn't have died ordinarily, will die at the wrong time, even though they don't want to die. Are you together? Are we together? So the idea of the conversation this moment is, how do you carry out internal regulation that will cushion the effects of whatever your environment, your geography, human instability, whatever, inconsistent occurrence happening around you, that you will still be able to thrive in spite of those situations? That is what we want to talk about today. And why is this very important? Why is this very important? Can I say this to you? I heard this from a man of God years back, to be precise, Dr. Sam Adeyemi, and he was quoting an author that I can't remember. I heard it from him. He was saying, we do not see things the way things are, but we see things the way we are. And I'd like you to listen very carefully, because this is very critical. That is, we do not see things the way the things are, but we see things the way we are. What does that mean? If you are somebody that lie easily, if you are someone that lies easily, you don't say the truth a lot of times, you will hardly believe other people talking to you are telling you the truth. Are you getting what I'm saying? when you look at somebody that is talking, because you lie a lot to people you talk to, there a part of you will presume that you see what this person is saying. I'm not sure it is true. And a lot of times, the person talking to you is actually saying the truth. Why are you perceiving a lie in the truth? Because you are a liar. Are you seeing what I'm talking about? For instance, if you are a betrayer, if you are somebody, that betrays people, if you are somebody that misrepresents other people, those who have done you good, you badmouth them, you say evil about them. Everybody around you too, the moment they start relating to other people, you will naturally be afraid that they're about to betray you. They are about to mess things up. And now pay attention. This does not rule out the fact that people lie, people betray, people do evil. But I'm saying why you make wrong diagnosis a lot of times is because you are not seeing things the way those things are originally. You are seeing them from the lens of your own personality. And this is not about judging other people's character. Even the way you see life and how life has now been treating you is a reflection of the perspective you have mastered over the years. Is somebody getting what I'm talking about? So we do not, we all have a filter, we have a bias, we have prejudices, we have things that have colored how we interpret data. So because our interpretations are not the same, therefore our lives cannot be the same. I said all of that to tell you that the consistent result your life has been producing, that is the reflection of your perspective about life, your geography notwithstanding, as long as you have become an adult. Whatever happens to anybody, at certain age, we can permit that and credit that to failure of, upbringing, background limitations, uh, and all of those things we can talk about. But the moment you transcend the, above 18 years, you have lost all the right to be criticizing other people for your life outcome. And if you are listening to me now, I want to believe most people on this call, for those whose comment I saw, I know many of you above 20 years. So what that means is you don't have any rights under heaven to talk about your parents now as the the causal factor for what your future life is going to produce. We can hold them accountable for what your life is showing today. But this is the last time we'll be able to do that. In a matter of few years away from now, you will be 100% responsible for your overall life outcome. Now, if you have been with me, you remember when I talked about, are you truly enough? So you need people, you need relationship, you need opportunities, all of that. But all of those things, they are secondary because you are the primary factor we are talking about it. And when that primary factor is compromised, every other thing will count for nothing. So that is why it is important for us to talk about internal regulation. Internal what? Internal regulation. You know, I came across the story of an individual who was involved in a ghastly motor accident. He was not the one driving. Just look at it. The person who drove the car survived. The person sitting beside the driver survived. But the individual at the back died. And what killed that person? The moment he realized that an accident was about to happen, he flew out of the car. He jumped out of the vehicle. And right there, you know what happened? He died. Why do you think he died? He had anticipated death, apparently, and he felt the best he could do was to defend himself by jumping out of a moving vehicle. That was a response to fear. And that fear killed him, not the accident, because the real people who were even in the front, they survived. So fear, therefore, will make people lose more than whatsoever you are talking about as external factors that we have magnified will cause them to lose. So I'm already talking about the things you need to deal with. Until you have mastered out how to deal with them, you can't say your internal environment is regulated enough. That was an example. Those of you in Nigeria, you heard about the bomb blast that happened in Lagos several years back. I remember watching the video when Obasanjo was the president, Tinubu was the governor, who is now the president of the country, was the governor in Lagos that time. So when Obasanjo came, I remember they were holding his hand to stand on a vehicle to give a speech. The reports eventually indicated that more people died out of the reports of the bomb blast than the people who were killed by bomb explosion. Certain people ran into the canal. Certain people ran and collided with moving vehicle. Certain people ran and jumped out of story buildings and broke their legs. So eventually, those persons were more than the people who were really killed directly by bomb explosion. What caused that? Internal regulation. I can go on and on to give you different examples. But having said all of that, how do you regulate your, how do you carry out personal internal regulation? I was investigating something, I'm into research in my place of study here. And I approach everything in life with that research consciousness. So I was trying to research into what differentiates between successful people across different geographies. By geography, I mean maybe you are living in Africa, you are living in America, you're living in Europe, and all of that. What differentiates successful people from people who are unsuccessful? I know there are different factors, but from my own discovery so far, the first thing I've realized is that people who succeed and people who fail, the major difference between them to start with is usually what we call a resolve. You can write that down. And I'm going to lean into that and speak into that big time tonight. Resolve. 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 If you're able to get this thing that I'm talking about tonight, oh my God, then a lot will change about you. I'm not ignorant of the fact that I'm speaking to a lot of people who don't have natural models for the kind of future they desire. If you want to be largely successful, maybe you are building a startup and you are living in Silicon Valley in America, you already have enough models around you. So without anybody ever praying for you, you stand the chance to build a business that will last because you have examples all around you. But what happens to somebody coming from places where there are no networks? What happens to individual living in an environment where it is unnatural to even talk about money in large volume? You have people who are 25-year-old in age They can't comprehend if you are mentioning $1 million. They really can't comprehend what that means. Why some people as early as at a, they are ages, they are able to relate with those data, not because they have it, but it has become a normal conversation in their parents' living room. But how do you move from that kind of environment and join the people whose formative years were completely different from yours? The first thing that I've realized through careful observation, tested across geography, it does not fail anywhere on the face of the earth, is what I call the test of resolve. And what does it mean to have a resolve? Or what does it mean to be resolved? You see, there are things in our lives that are settled in our subconscious. And you see, those things that are already settled in your subconscious except, there are miraculous interventions that can happen at any point. But except for that, those things that are deep seated in your subconscious, they are the things that are guaranteed for your future or in your future. So, what does it mean to have a resolve? To be resolute, to be convinced and determined about a specific outcome with what is close to certainty. Because I will tell you why I said something close to certainty. What has not happened yet, you approach it by faith. That is the substance of your certainty. But if you want to do logic, when it happens, that's when it is certain. But your resolve are the stuff you are almost certain about, even when they have not really happened. And I trust to be able to drive this into your heart because it's a game changer. Resolve. Resolve. I have shared before with certain people of a man, very close to me, who I want to say the story in code because just in terms of respect I have for that person. But the thing is, that man was in school. And by the time he was in school, they were talking about when you graduate, employment. It was already difficult for people in your field and all of that. So because of that, you may need to start diversifying, try to add so and so minor to your course. And he told the people, he said, if the job remains only two in the whole of Nigeria, it will be for him and someone else. The one I'm talking about is not the son of his father, is a no-name man. With due respect, a no-name man. Even as we speak, if you search the father's name on Google, you will not even have ordinary social media response. So he's a no-name man. There was really, something to back on with when it comes to human connection. But this gentleman was resolved. It was resolved. And in our very high, we saw when he finished, now not immediately, how that opportunity came to be for him. That is in times of opportunity. Let's talk about how you respond to failure. Let's talk about how you even respond to failure. Because a lot of times we don't know that the highest challenge we are facing, they are the major indication that our lives are about to change for better. Unfortunately, when you face the highest challenge in your life, you are standing at a crossroad where you either break through to what redefines your life positively, that is what I call breakthrough, or you break down because you're unable to master that moment. And one of the things that make people to fail when they face what is beyond them is because they are not resolved that this situation can turn out for their good. They are not resolved. Let me share if you have read about Napoleon Hill, I want to believe those of you who read books, you must have come across Napoleon's either document or you have heard other people cite him or mention him. A very great guy, while he was around. When Napoleon Hill was explaining his life, transition, how he journeyed into magazine publishing and all of that in America before he now went back to start a corporation that he abandoned before he even ran away because they wanted to kill him for a short period. But in the midst of that story, he said he got to a point where he himself believed that the things he had, he at that time, he said he wrote a book. I've not read that book, but I heard about it. The 17, maybe 17 principles of success or achievement or something like that. The one who authored the book, and the book became what do you call that? Best-selling, right? Best-selling book in America. Wall Street Journal were able to market the book, USA Time magazine and all of that. The best of the best, they sold that book. So it was already known. He got to that point where he started doubting himself that I taught people how to achieve. But the same me that authored the book on achievement, he was in the hiding where he was afraid. It's a very long story, and the focus is not about the story. But when his life was going to change, what happened to him? He was afraid, a guy wanted to kill him, and the intelligence report got to him to go and hide somewhere, and he was hidden in that other city for a long time. But where he was hidden, he couldn't sleep because if any vehicle pulled into their compound, he will feel, oh, they have come to kill me. But eventually, the person that was after his life was tried, convicted, and even jailed. But even though the man who wanted to kill him had been jailed, he was still imprisoned in his head. So they told him, you can walk freely in the street now. The one who was after your life has been imprisoned. But yet, he was literally afraid. But when his life was going to change, though he explained that like a visitation, but that he had to be introduced to a different dimension of himself. And that different dimension of himself was that he began to listen to a part of him, a thought that was not defeated. And when I saw that news, that story, I said, that is what resolve is about. Because your resolve will change your perspective. How do I mean? 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. Listen. The Apostle Paul was speaking to the Christians in Corinth. And he said, there is no temptation that has overtaken you that is not common to men. Listen. You need to be totally resolved that there is nothing happening to you that is not common to mankind. Number one. There's nothing. If you are indebted as we speak, maybe you are owing money, then you think your entire lifetime, if you continue with your earning pattern now, you may not even have enough time all your life to offset that debt. You are not the first person to be on that table. And you need to listen to what I'm talking about. Because I said what breaks people through breaks some people down. So that point, the first thing is that resolve. So you must be resolved that this thing is common to men, number one. Number two, you must be resolved that there is always a way out. Oh my God. Oh God. You must be what? Type it in the comment box. Let me be sure you are hearing what I'm talking about. You see, I have a serious challenge when I'm speaking into the screen like this. Is one of the things that constrain me when I want to. What I'm speaking about now is doing me like I should be in the midst of thousands of people who I can relate with and feel their energy. But I want to believe you are getting it either way. That there is always a way out. You may live up to age 50 and never sit in the consciousness that whatsoever is happening around you, there is always a way out. You may never experience that. Speak with certain older people. You will know that life has defeated some of these people, that they see problems even in opportunities. They don't see opportunities in problems anymore. And if Satan wants to deal with you, you will make one of such people your advisor. You will make one of such people your counselor. You will make one of such people your coach. You will make one of such people your mentor. Then everything you want to do, they will find problem in it even before you comment. So your resolve that what is happening to you has happened to other people before. Number two, there is always a way out. That's the second resolve. So Napoleon, by the time he began to have that experience with that, he was hearing a voice in his heart. Everything that voice came to achieve, this is my own interpretation. He didn't say it even in his story, was to strengthen his resolve so that his perspective will be altered. His perspective will be altered. Because a lot of times, when you are not resolved, you will be thinking that your prevailing circumstance will be your end. Can I say to somebody listening to me right now, this is not how your story ends. No. As long as you still have breath in your nostril, this is not how your story ends. I want you to type it out now. That as long as I have breath in my nostril, this is not how my story ends. And this has to be a resolve. And I'm going to teach you anyways how what is not natural for you, and I will do that today. I'm not even going to postpone it. How what is not natural to you can be configured into your subconscious until you begin to believe it. Until you begin to believe it, I will tell you how to do it. I will tell you how to do it. So that there will always be a way out. I don't know what you are facing. Maybe you are facing academic challenge, you are facing business challenge, you are facing ministerial challenge, you are facing marital crisis. You must, it has to be deep seated in your heart. You must know it as you know your name, that you see this thing happening, there is always a way out. I learned that while I was in secondary school. And that's why I don't believe anything has ended when it has not come to the end. I was listening to a respected minister through a tape, and he said something happened to maybe one of his children or so, or his wife, or something like that. And said he called all the people whose voices he knew that God honored in Nigeria, and they all prayed, and the situation did not improve. Maybe somebody is listening to me. You've joined all kind of prayer platforms, and it's as though you are now abandoned to your situation. That man of God was there before. He said, then, in fact, even me, I've prayed, himself, he had prayed for people and their situations are turned to testimony. He said, what's going on here? He said, but one day he was praying And in the place of prayer, he remembered the scripture. And in that scripture, he got a logical interpretation. That was not what was written on the page of the Bible. But he interpreted it that there must always be a way out. Now, I didn't know the text he was reading, but I presume it can be 1 Corinthians 10:13. Because of what? The Bible says there is no temptation that has overtaken you that is not common to men. He said, and God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted more than what you can bear. And he will also by himself make a way of escape. There is always a way out. I was in secondary school when I heard that. That was, maybe some of you were around while I was doing a broadcast October 19, when I said, I'm too sure I can never be stranded, irrespective of where I am on the face of the earth. I was in SX3 or so when I came to that awareness. And you see, you can't convince me against it. It has become a resolve in my heart. And because it has become a resolve, even if things are going against that, I believe now we have not ended this thing now. There is always a way out. So, and the man said, there must always be a way out. Those who know the man of God I'm talking about, you will have heard this from him several times. And he said, when he said that to himself, he took the sick person and dropped the person at the altar of the church. He said, there can never be a dead end with God. Show up, Lord. And he said, it was after he came to that resolve, what medical doctors have concluded on, what a lot of ministers have prayed and they didn't see a change, started improving right there. Because the moment you believe there must be a way out, you are tapping into the energy of the highest power in the universe. You are transitioning to the realm of all possibilities. Come on now. You are engaging the force that suspends the universe, that has not made the world to collapse heretofore. The moment you believe there is going to be a way out. That's number 2. You have to be resolved about. Number 3, after you have believed that there will be a way out, you must believe that that way out is accessible. Oh, come on now. You must believe, because some people believe that there is a way out, but they never believe the way out can come to them. So you will see them say stuff like, and I know people have survived this thing. I don't know why I'm not surviving it. Really? You are not going to survive it because your resolve is incomplete. You're not going to survive it. You must believe that that same way out, that solution is within reach. And you see, while I'm doing speaking, listen, because I'm not speaking by logic anymore. I don't even speak by logic most of the time, except that I'm logical in all my delivery. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. But why am I saying that? You need to pay attention, because everything I've switched now. Everything I've switched now. The fact that you believe God has ability to do something does not mean He's going to do it in your life until you believe that that ability you have believed in is accessible to you. That's what gives you personal access. That's exactly what grants you personal access. People believe that God heals. They die believing that on sick bed. People believe God can lift men. They die being poor and hand over poverty to next generation. People believe God can bring influence. People believe God can bring other things, except that they never tap into the reality of the so-called belief. Do you know why? They truly believe that thing, but they are not resolved that they have access to that same thing. You must be resolved that access is made available over what is required for your entire life to be properly lived. Peter was speaking, and he said, God has given us all things required to live a life of godliness. King James will say, things that pertain to life and godliness. When they teach you in church to read the Bible, to meditate, to listen to sermon, what they have not told you is what I'm interpreting to you. is that they are teaching you how to come to the place of resolve, how to come to the place of total awareness, how to come to the place of absolute consciousness. Come on now. That there is actually a way out, and that way out is accessible. This is how to do internal regulation. And what I'm telling you now, oh my God, you and your husband, you are not in agreement. You and your wife, you are not in agreement. You have a superior in the office that you know your next level depends on their approval, but yet they are not favorably disposed towards you. How do you resolve that? How? How? It is that there is always a way out, and I know this way out by the Spirit. The moment you do that, you activate your curiosity and your positioning to be able to host that idea. Because actually, the idea, the instruction, the counsel, the revelation, the epiphany, the visitation that will bring the solution to your problem, they have always been around. But until you become a specific version, even if those things are slapping you in the face, you won't see them. You will be imagining that they slap you in the spirit realm. You won't see them. Don't forget where I started. Because you are not seeing things the way the things are. You are seeing them the way you are. So when your resolve is strengthened, everything around you will begin to change. Everything around you will begin to change. I'm still on point number 1, but I'm breaking that down. That you regulate your life internally by having a resolve. A lot of times people feel until they travel out of their home country, they will not succeed. What kind of mentality is that? It's a wrong resolve. It's just a very wrong way to think. Go and check, except that it's only ministers of God most of the time that share their stories. And that's why you see that in that part of the world, people tend to follow the pattern of some other people and succeed. But in other ecosystems, you don't even know how they get to where they are. Meanwhile, certain things are constant across board in the lives of people doing certain things, even when they have never met before. Ideologically, they must have met at a point. Ideologically, they must have met at a point. So you have to be resolved. Then, how do you develop this resolve? You see, sometimes you know consciously that you have consciousness of lack. If you listen to me just tonight or this afternoon at any time, and you just feel, oh, I'm resolved, and you leave, you will be deceiving yourself. Because you have mastered lack for as old as you are. Maybe you are 25 years. It means something taught you to become that representation you are today. So that which you have mastered for 25 years, you won't listen to me for 25 minutes and you think everything will go like that. No. But 1 minute can change it. How? If you now make that 1 minute to be superimposed on your intelligence, how do you do that? I believe you've heard it a lot of times, that the brain, human brain, cannot differentiate between the truth and a lie. It's that simple. So what you tell yourself every time, what you hear consistently, what you what you put on your mind consistently, even if it were to be a lie, you will start believing it and it will form your consciousness. That's the reason why, if you preach, if you're a preacher here and you have met serious herbalists who have related with some of these weak ideas that they put together, all right, as a charm, and you are introducing the gospel, they will just look at you and say, really? I'm talking about those who have dealt with that thing for a long time. If you are telling them that, you know, this thing you are worshiping is not real, they will laugh. They are not really trying to scorn you. They feel you are dumb. That what I saw my father worship, what I've seen respond, you are telling me is not real? Do you know what you are talking about? Do you know why they are talking like that? That is how human brain functions. Whatever, that's even deception, that's how it flows. You reinforce something logically, consistently. The brain believes that anything contrary to this is wrong. So, how do you strengthen your result? Go and find out the things that are directly responsible for your prevailing negative circumstances, and I list them out. Maybe you are fearful. Write it down. Maybe this will lead me to my second point. The first point was to have a resolve. The second point is decision. And I will explain how that is different from, that's an offshoot of being resolved. But the second thing is maybe you are indecisive. I don't know who said that again, but somebody said years back that the greatest ailment of humanity is indecision. And I quite agree with that perspective 100%. So, but maybe you are somebody that cannot decide easily. Then write it down. I struggle to make decisions. There are some of you, you are approaching 30 years. You cannot by yourself make independent decision over anything until you have a crowd of support, sometimes under the guise of accountability, until somebody else endorses that thing. As beautiful as that is, God helps you that you are privileged to be under those who really have an idea of what you are talking about and who have time to do a thorough consideration. If not, I've said it to people. And that's why those of you who have leaders, pray for them. If anybody has a voice that can make you change a major decision about your life, if you don't pray for that person, you are a fool. You know why you are a fool? If that person gives you a counsel, you know you are going to bend backward to act on that counsel. But don't forget, nobody bears the consequence of your decision like you do. Nobody on the face of the earth. You see, a lot of decisions that I've made, I'm married, I have a daughter, part of them can affect them, but there's nobody that bears the consequence of my decision like myself. And unfortunately, a lot of people cannot really make decisions. They are always looking for who to call. And it's not your fault. The course you went to study in school, they told you to do it. When you finish, the company you applied to, they told you to apply there. When you were going to serve, they decided the state you were going to be posted to. When you got to that state, they chose the company where you were going to serve. Therefore, the first time, they expect you now to choose a marital partner independently. All of them are a bunch of jokers. Everybody involved in that structure, the bunch of jokers. And again, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. Get that balance. But you must be resolved in your heart that you have capacity to make right decision. That is trusting your own decision. Now, this one now is difficult to spill it out to the general public, but whatever it is, I will just pause around it because it's critical. A lot of times people don't know that the decision you take, even when that decision is wrong, quote and unquote, the underlying motive behind it is exactly what is going to determine how it will turn out to be. And this is what I'm saying. Let me break it down. We're still talking about resolve, right? When you believe there's going to be a way out, I told you are not open to ideologies, visitation, even counsel. Everything coming around you at that moment, it does not matter how intelligent or how good you are, all of them cannot be going towards the same direction. You will have conflicting ideas. Now, this is not a motivational moment. So if you don't have comprehensive ability now, I have lost you and I'm aware. And I'm not sorry anyways. But this is the point. You now have things going on in your mind, things you never thought about. You give yourself to prayer. You study. You listen to people. You go to people you differ to, and they give you counsel. I tell you, a lot of these things, they won't go in the same direction. Someone would say, do this one. The other one will do this one. Part of your resolve. And this is how to engage the Holy Ghost. And if you don't understand what that means, just move on, okay? Or reach me later. This is an intelligence to engage in the Holy Ghost. That the decision you are going to make out of that option, finally, having prayed, having done all of that, you see the one you personally have inclination to with witness of the Spirit. Trust it. I cannot overflog it. But the idea is this. Even when you have made the right decision, but you believe that decision is wrong, maybe somebody reinforces around you that that's a wrong decision, I bet you it will turn out wrongly. I wish I have data now to substantiate this. Are you getting what I'm saying? Let me even understand the people listening to me first. Are you getting what I'm saying so far? Resolve. Resolve. What I'm saying to you is, even when you have married the wrong person, let's assume that person is wrong. Let's assume, because it is by faith we are doing everything, right? Let's assume that person is wrong. If you don't take that person as a wrong partner, you will be able to assess in God wisdom grace, understanding to make good out of that relationship just by not concluding in your heart, I've married the wrong person, is a resolve. Anyways, if you have married a partner that is always bringing knives to the bed when you want to sleep, the result we are talking about cannot even work. So everything I'm teaching, I'm not trying to make you deny what is obvious, but I'm talking about you can create what is not in existence just because you believe it to be. Go and check it. Those who are from broken homes, who are afraid that when they get married, won't their homes be broken? 80% of the time, the homes will break because it is in their consciousness the possibility of breakage. Somebody who is completely unaware of that has no expectation for that. What I'm saying to you is you must trust the decision you have made under God. As long as the decision was not made in rebellion. Because some people make decision to prove to somebody else that what you have told me, I will do it in spite that you are setting yourself up. Because you must trust the process. A lot of people don't trust the process. They are doubting themselves, second guessing all their options, second guessing all their life decisions, and they wonder why they are not making the best of where they are. Come on now. Why should that be? These are internal regulations. And it's a science. If you don't master it, you will be you'll be responding to life like a reed that is being tossed to and fro. But are you resolved inside of your heart that you see, it doesn't matter what is happening? We'll be around later to talk about this situation because it's going to turn around for my testimony. Internal regulation. So I was talking about how you need to do that. You've listed the major problems you know. I'm a fearful person. That's you, of that person. I'm an indecisive person. Number 2, I'm a person that procrastinates. Number 3, can you write, I don't focus on negativity a lot, but please write out so that I can use your comment to cite this example in a way that's going to help. The things you know that are limiting you or that you know that are limiting other people, let's assume you are speaking to other persons. Because the moment we take it personal, now people will not put comments anymore. So what are the things? Maybe you procrastinate. Right there. You are afraid. The fear of commencement. The fear of commitment. Why some people are not getting married is because they are afraid. Or you, like I've spoken, I spent more time on that. You just can't decide until somebody is validating it. I want to travel, but I'm still holding on now. If nobody is saying that's a good decision, then it is not good. Really? Good. Low self-esteem. This man has gone ahead into my notes now. Esteem issue, identity crisis. Yes. Thank you. Bring them on. Bring them on. I'm seeing the comments. Validation. Yeah. A lot of people have business ideas, clear ideas. But because certain persons are not cool with it, they bury the idea 100%. Fear of the unknown. Yes, some people are even afraid, but if you ask them what they're afraid of, they don't know it. Imposter syndrome. And several of them. So any of these things that are consistent with yours, write them out. When you write them out, from today going forward, every day without fail, begin to say something contrary to that. Now, I know some of you will not do this, but it's fine. If you don't do it, in 5 years' time, the same problem you are facing today, it doesn't matter who is praying for you, the problems will have been complicated in 5 years' time. But listen, now begin to say something contrary to each of these things. If you know you have low self-esteem, write it and put it on your wall. I don't have low self-esteem. Don't say I have low self-esteem. I don't have low self-esteem. If you know how to design, inscribe it with a good design. Make it your screensaver. I don't have low self-esteem. I don't have fear of unknown. I don't have fear of commitment. Just the way you are writing all these things out. The idea is you want to reconfigure your consciousness. You are rebuilding what has been inscribed in your subconscious until you have become one with that your new confession now. Then you will not be totally resolved. You have to be, see, while I was younger rather, a lot of people don't know. Oh my God. So I know some of you here won't believe. People don't know that I'm a shy person. If you don't believe it, to put it there, let me see it. Can you imagine that? Can I tell you that even right now, as I speak, I don't like it when people's eye are on me. Even now, I'm telling you. I just feel, why is everybody looking at me? But do you know how I overcame that? Thanks to my Sunday school teachers in Anglican church while I was growing up, they would stick microphone into my mouth when they took us to adult church for us to be reciting memory verses and to be singing, those children, whatever. And the moment I stood in the front of the people, I will start sweating from my nose naturally. But you see, the moment I started doing that to a point, those of you who are parents, these are the responsibilities you should carry out over your children. You must make them have an awareness that they are people of strength, not people of weaknesses. Then the people in those children department, Sunday school teachers, somehow in their local consciousness and whatever, they just believed in me. They just believe in me. Oh, so when they believed in me, I said that since some people believed in me, why should I let down their trust? That was the reconfiguration. I grew up in a local area. Some of you have heard my story. That was the reconfiguration that started taking place in my head. Listen, now there is no place on the face of the earth. I know that I don't have the best of ethics in terms of human condition, but there is no room I enter that I'm afraid. Oh, there's none. Even if it's going to be the first of its kind. Because of what certain people made me believe that. So I started telling myself that I'm not shy. And the worst is now for you to give me a microphone anywhere. The moment I just hold that thing, or I open my mouth, even without microphone, in the midst of people, an unusual consciousness comes upon me. Somebody is commenting that I don't believe, sir, because I believe you were even born a public speaker from childhood. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the compliment. But people who knew what I was growing up, some of them were here. I shared the story that when I was made general secretary, I wrote that in my book, of Federation of Black Students Union. My dad called my other brother. I was already in the university and started rebuking him that he was the one pushing me out to do things I was not comfortable with, because until I was in part 2 in the university, my dad believed I was a very quiet person. That's my own biological fact. Are you seeing that? But it's not about me. Let's not make the conversation about me. So begin to say things contrary to things putting you down. There is a woman in Nigeria, I don't want to mention her name. I don't know. Maybe it's my observation. It's a singer. It's a Yoruba singer, to be precise. She sings what sounds like gospel that's not gospel. And I like her so much. But years back, this is my own theory. She was always singing in a way that was admitting to the fact that she was not beautiful. Now, again, this is my theory. And I've seen in the last 5 years how much of public affirmation she gives to herself that there's a song that if I sing now, everywhere we gas, everybody will know who I'm talking about. And I said, apparently, when money started coming, this woman now saw another part of herself, or somebody taught her that you were not really ugly, or you were only broke. Even if you are ugly, but you don't believe it, other people seeing you as ugly, you will not be aware. You don't know what they are talking about. But if you are beautiful, but you don't believe it, if they are telling you are beautiful, you believe it's a lie. Because what is inside of you is what you are working with, not necessarily what is going on outside. So I said all of that to say, now we'll continue this conversation again next week. I spent all of tonight to talk about how to have a resolve. There must be a way out. And finally, I want you to know that every problem on the face of the earth has expiry date. Every problem. Every problem. But before the problem ends, some people have ended their lives. There is this story that Pastor Kunle Shorinyo used to share. He shared it, I heard it from him in 2022 at Kingdom Perennial, they call it Kingdom Perennial Summit, organized by God's Will Hoyo in the city of Ibadan. That was the first time I heard the man speak. And he was talking about that there was a point in his life where he made a move, maybe a business move or something, but it failed. And it was owing money in hundreds of thousands of dollars. If I'm not even mistaken, or maybe he said $3 million, but I don't have the data, so please don't quote me. But it was huge amount of money. And the man said, every form of, I can't remember, but he said different kind of state apparatus were looking for him. And at a point, he felt, how will I come out of this problem? How will I come out of this problem? But at the end of the day, he came out. How he came out, I don't know. But I believed that in between the process, it must have come to the place of resolve that this is not how this story is going to end. If there's going to be your take home tonight, then take it seriously. You must have a resolve. I can begin to tell you some of the resolves I had very early in life. Some of the resolves that I have very early in life. And I know some I need to have now to overcome the current things I'm facing. There are things that happen around me and people feel, really? How are you coping? I said, I'm not coping. I'm faring well. And they think I'm trying to do word of encouragement, but I'm telling you the truth. Because I don't relate with the matter the way you are relating with it. I'm relating with the matter that a part of these things are going to be part of my future story. And I'm living it well to make sure I don't become a negative cast in this movie. Is a resolve. So when you become resolved, as I conclude tonight, you will now be able to see life from a different vantage position. Oh my God. Where you know that the time will come. If you don't have a resolve, you are you are sitting, you are working with what I would describe as hope that has no result in view. Tomorrow is going to be good. The way Apostle Lazarus will say it. Apostle will say, some of you wake up and you are saying, I know tomorrow will be better. And that's the same thing an Agbero boy is saying in the garage for the past 15 years, yet nothing is changing. That's empty word because they are not resolved. When you are resolved, your entire being gravitate towards that decision. Your entire being. So, how you are interpreting your condition. The Bible says, if you fail in the days of adversity, then your strength is small. I take everything happening to me as a revealer of how much I've grown or how much I've failed to grow. And I interpret them correctly. That's why, you see, I'm not offended at any mortal man on the face of the earth. That's my personal ethos. Since the day I clocked age 20, I started seeing the world differently. The moment I crossed to another decade, oh my God, I redefine every paradigm of my life completely, 100%. So, because I'm working with a resolve. If you have not met that thing as an inheritance at home, I'm telling you, it is not in view until you are resolved about it. It is not in view. I saw just a clip that I'm not going to recommend, so I'm not going to go into the details. A podcast from Nigeria where a gentleman, this is not a born again person, who is now popular in Nigeria. But he was complaining about police. Those who have seen the podcast will know what I'm talking about. That while he was in high school, he wrote on the wall of the secondary school he attended that he was going to be popular. He said now that he had become popular, he went to that school. He still saw what he wrote on that wall because there was no renovation, there was no painting. You see, that's what everybody hears. That, oh, that Nigeria is so backward, people. But that was not what I heard. I said, so at secondary school level, this guy was resolved that this nation was going to listen to him. And today they are listening to him. Even as we speak, he's not even born again. Then some of you carry the Holy Ghost. You are resolved about nothing. You are seeding the future with nothing. You are expecting nothing from the world. As a matter of fact, the whole universe and all the forces therein, they don't even know what to deliver to you. You know what? When you are that kind of person, you are the easiest person for Satan to deliver evil to. Because there is no neutral level in the world we live in. Choose what comes to you by being resolved. That's where I'm going to stop tonight. I've only done one out of about 5 points that I have. I'm not in haste, as some of you know. So we continue by the grace of God next time. Once again, thank you everyone for joining tonight. Uh, I think I will try to get a stream platform to make this available on Facebook after other time. I have about 6,500 followers on Facebook and less than 200 people here on YouTube. So I know doing stuff on Facebook brings more reach, but yeah, we'll see what we can do about that. But those of you who are here, I honor your time. I thank you. I celebrate you. So if you have any question tonight, please put it in the comment box. Again, like this video, share with people that you believe is going to bless. Then let's go from there. And if you have not subscribed to, please subscribe. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Iduwola Umi, you are welcome. You are welcome. Um, Goodness, Agwaniru, thank you. You are welcome, man. Olamide Precious, thank you, thank you. Um, all right, everybody, for those in America, we now need to start coping with this time zone. Anyways, it doesn't affect anything within the country, except that your appointment with people in Nigeria, all of them will be completely altered for the next 4 to 5 months now, but everybody will be fine. Okay, okay, doc. I think we are good to go tonight. Oh my God, my amazing, my amazing man of God is online tonight, Pastor Asan Akinola. Thank you, man of God. I celebrate you, and I love you with the whole of my heart. I really do. Please extend my regards to your family, and let me say this publicly: we are waiting for you both at this side. Okay, we are waiting for you on this side, rather. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So everybody, thank you for being around. Bye for now. See you next time.